Hello everyone, this is Inashri from 9tocloud.com. Today I'm going to install Openstack-Mitaka on CentOS 7. So I've got VMware Workstation 11 where I'm going to create a new virtual machine, and we're going to use this virtual machine for our OpenStack all-in-one installation. So I'm going to browse my CentOS to the right location. This is CentOS 64-bit. You can get this online, and you can download this one, CentOS 64. I've got this as a minimal server because I didn't want the all the functions and all the operating systems information. I just needed a minimal server to install the OpenStack, and that would work fine. So I'm going to click on next, and I'm going to give a username. You can choose any username and a password that I can remember to log in, and I'm going to call it as OpenStack installation. Click on next. I'm going to give it 2 processors and a memory to be somewhere around 4 to 5 GB, because when the OpenStack install all of its modules, it requires a lot of memory. As my machine right now, my laptop has got 8 GB of RAM, which is not very good for the OpenStack to run properly. But since we are trying to do the installation and see how each and every module within OpenStack works, so this is just fine for now. I'm going to choose the network type as N80, and I'm going to keep the rest of the things as default one, and I'm going to give the disk size to be somewhere around 60 GB, or let's say 50 GB. Click on next, and power on this virtual machine after creation. So I'm going to go ahead and click on finish, and I'll wait until all the installation of the CentOS is done properly, and then we can start with the installation. Virtual machine is being booted, so I'm going to log in as root, and the password is the one which we had given earlier. Oh, okay, so we've logged in. Now I want to check the IP. Okay, so the NIC EN0167777736 doesn't have it. The NIC is not connected at this point of time, so let me go ahead and connect the device. So yeah, so this has been connected. Now what I want to do is I want to connect to this virtual machine with PuTTY, because that way it's just easier. 192.168.182.133. So there you go. I'm going to use the same root and login as the password. Okay, so there are a few things that I want to make changes to before we can go ahead and do the installation. I'm not using any IPv6 addressing at this point of time, so I'm just going to delete all of that. I've changed the settings so that anytime my virtual machine boots, it doesn't change the IP address, and my IP address always stays static. Since we have made changes to the NIC configuration, I want to go ahead and restart network.service. It might prompt me, it might kick me out of the PuTTY session, or oh, okay, this is successful, that's great. Sometimes it might just get you outside the PuTTY session, so go back to the operating system via the VMware workstation over here, and from here you can check the console and you can troubleshoot why you've not been able to successfully start the network service. Yeah, so I wanted to see if I'm able to log in or if I'm able to communicate to the external world, but I am not able to. So I'm going to change the DNS. I'm going to name it as name server .8.8.8, and yeah, we should do. And now I should be able to ping to the external world. Yeah, so this is working fine. What else? There's one thing that you can do, that is to change the host name if you want to. I'm going to keep it the same, because if I've changed the host name, I might have to restart, because sometimes the changes doesn't get reflected instantly. Yeah, so if I say suppose name, okay, so it is taken up the name as controller. That is great. What else do I want to change? Yes, I also want to disable network manager, because OpenStack does not need a network manager. It doesn't support network manager because it already has network.service. We will also disable firewall. Okay, so this is great. So we've made the basic settings of our CentOS operating system for this to have a successful OpenStack installation. There's nothing fancy that I have used or I have done in the system settings for the installation. Yeah. Now what I want to do is I want to do a yum update FNY, so that all the repositories and everything gets updated before I start doing the OpenStack installation. Okay, so you can see that the update is complete. Now I'm going to follow certain set of steps which I've noted down over here, as you can see. So the first one is first one is something which we have already done. The second one is the repository installation from the RDO project. I'm going to go ahead and do the Mitaka installation. The recent OpenStack version from the RDO is Newton. I'm not going to go for Newton because Newton has certain set of bugs which I don't want to get into right now. I don't want to get into the debugging of all of that. So I'll go ahead and do the Mitaka installation. So I'm going to take the repository from repos.fedorapeople.org, and I'm going to go for Openstack-Mitaka. You can go for any other version that you want to. I'm going to go for 6th release. Let me update the same thing over here as well, so it will be easier. Yeah, so I want to do a yum install -y of HTTPS. So I'm just going to paste the same thing in my putty. So the next thing that we are going to do is do the installation of Packstack. So this Packstack has got the entire package of all the modules of OpenStack, like Nova, Cinder, Swift, Keystone, etc. So let's go ahead and install the Packstack in our environment. I don't basically need sudo because I'm already a root user, but in either case it's not going to make a difference right now, because I'm already doing this as a root user. So even if I use a sudo or don't use a sudo, it wouldn't matter. Okay, so this is complete. Now the next thing that we need to do is to generate an answer file, which gets generated after you have the Backstack installed in your environment. So this answer file will allow you to change the modules, change the configuration settings, change the IP settings, change the database settings that you want before you install the OpenStack. So you can see that I've got the answer file in my root folder, because that is the path that I had given earlier. Okay, so let me go ahead and see what is there in my answer file. So you can freely browse around with all the options and the parameters that you want to give. At this point of time, I just want to stick to the basic information that I want to set up in my OpenStack environment. So I'm going to leave the basic modules as yes, which is MariaDB, which is a database service, Glance, which is an image service, Cinder, which is a block storage service. I do not need a Manila. I do need Nova, which is my compute service. Of course, I would need Neutron, which is the networking component, and Horizon, which will be the dashboard. You can also work without the dashboard if you're very good with the command line interface. Probably I'll do some more videos on the command lines later on, but not in this video. I'm going to leave the Swift install silometer as yes. I do not want Sahara install. I do, however, need the heat installation. This heat is a kind of an orchestration component or a module of OpenStack. It's pretty interesting to work around with this automation. It basically works on YAML, so maybe I'll find another video for this as well. NTP servers, you can leave it blank, or if you do have any NTPD service that you want this to be associated with, you can put that over here. If you are going for a multi-node installation, you can always provide the IPs over here. So if I have any other virtual machine which I want to be as a controller, I can put it over here, followed by a comma. So the OpenStack services will also be installed on that particular virtual machine as well. Same is the case with the compute. If you want to have a separate compute virtual machine, you can put the IP over here. Since we are doing an all-in-one installation, all of these services will be installed on one machine, and the IP for that machine is going to be this one, which is the IP of my machine at this point of time. So if you have a VMware environment, you can provide the host server IP over here, as it says IP address of the VMware vCenter server, and you can provide the user and the password over here. So I'm going to leave the rest of the settings as it is because I do not need to set so many parameters at this point of time. I do want to change one thing, which is the Keystone admin password. I need the password to be something that I can remember the first time when I try to log into the dashboard. I do need to look for Neutron, which is the networking component. I do want to have I do want to configure load balancer. Yes, I don't want the firewall at this point of time, and I'm going to use the driver type to be the VLAN. You can choose any of the driver type. You can choose between GRE or VLAN or VXLAN or flat. Depends upon what networking type your environment is comfortable with, or what environment that you've set up. The default switch which is being used by OpenStack is OpenBase switch. If you have any other switch like Linux Bridge or Hyper-V, you can configure that over here. I'm not going to make any further changes. If you have configured the OBS bridging over here in this environment, in any OpenStack environment, you can provide the details over here and then configure an OBS bridge. Since I'm not creating any OBS bridge, I'm not configuring this, but maybe if you want the OBS bridge settings, I might do a video on the same later on. I want to put this SSL as yes. So these are my final settings that I want to do in my answers file. If say you are impatient and you really don't want to make much of the changes, you can go ahead with Packstack all-in-one installation, but otherwise you can run this command packstack answer file. So this is going to take your answer file and do the installation accordingly. Now this is your final installation of OpenStack. So this is where your virtual machines get set up, your database gets set up, your modules and your configuration files get set up within this environment according to the IPs that you have provided. You can run this packstack file again and again, but don't do that because it might mess up with your environment if you've already had the installation done. Packstack is not usually recommended for a production environment setup because it's basically meant for anything which is kind of a staging environment and a development environment, so that you can test around with all the modules in OpenStack. So now the installation takes some time. It depends upon how much resources that you have given to the virtual machine and what is your internet bandwidth. If you have a very good internet bandwidth, it's going to take 25 minutes. Okay, so you can see that my Packstack installation is complete. However, I'm getting some error over here. Well, for now I'm just going to ignore this and just going to check the basic modules, whether they have been installed correctly or not, so that we do not require any further troubleshooting. So let's just see what we have. So I've got Nova services. It is coming up. It's going to take little time because I have very less RAM being given to this virtual machine. So yes, so I've got Nova services, I've got Clients, Keystone services, I've got OpenStack dashboard that says 301. That means I can get my dashboard Horizon running. So I see that whatever the necessary services that I need are active. I have got all the Cinder APIs up and running. I've got Swift up and running. I've got Neutron server, which is active. The dashboard, which is 301, which is active. OpenStack Keystone says inactive, but it would be under an activating state, so that's fine. You can just check it over. Here, systemctl status OpenStack Keystone. So it's you can start it and you can see it might fail, but it will be under an activating state. Yeah, so this is under an activating state, so that is fine. So we will still be able to log in to the dashboard. The another thing that I want to check is my Apache, whether it is running or not. Of course it is running, and that's why I've got OpenStack dashboard to be 301. That means it is working. Yes, so this is active and running. So I can now go and log into the dashboard. While you are installing OpenStack with Packstack, you can find the link over here that says that to access the OpenStack dashboard, browse to HTTPS 192.168.180.133, whatever is the IP of your virtual machine where you've installed your OpenStack. So I will browse it, and I've already had it. So I'm just going to go ahead and proceed with this. It's kind of taking forever. Okay, so I've got it. I've got this up. The username and the password is the one which you have changed in your answer file for the keystone _admin _pw, where you gave the password as Red Hat. The login username is admin and the password is Red Hat, which I gave while I was editing the answers file. So let's see whether we will be able to log in successfully or not. In the meantime, I can run some commands for you to check. Keystone, you can check the users. What are the users that has been created? Oh, I have to source it. Sorry. So a source file will be created for you. It's going to be something like this, which is keystone rc_admin, that has got the credentials for you to source to your shell. So you can source. I'm also going to show you what are the parameters which are there for you. There is also a demo user which will be created for you to try. Okay, so the username is admin, password is Red Hat, the same username and admin which we are using on the dashboard. The tenant, which is the project, is admin, so you are an admin for the project admin. Okay, so I am going to source to admin. Oops. And I'm going to run keystone user list to check all the user lists under the project admin. You can ignore this deprecated warnings. So yes, so you can see these are the users which are created. You can check the tenant. So you've got 3 tenants which is being created. There is admin, another one is demo, another one is services. So let's see whether our dashboard is up. Okay, so I can see my dashboard and I can see all the modules that I have installed. compute is your Nova module, network is your neutron module, orchestration is your heat module, object store is the Swift module, and you've got admin and identity that collectively calls for your keystone module. So this is your OpenStack installation, everything basic, all-in-one installation. I'll see you in another video which I'll do for the command line interface, and I will do more in this virtual machine. So we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.